66 vehicles survived the prologue and would come under starters' orders at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. The Nissan Sugarbelt 400 is always extremely spectator-friendly, and this year fans turned out in force.
Well, to be honest, I have to be happy and with a big smile on my face, because to win the time trial first time out in a super truck like that, it's shaken up the pits. But you know, it's a long day today, and we know what the Sugarbelt's like. The grass is wet in the morning, the car can run off the road so easily. So, you know, I've got a lot of pressure, but I haven't got too much pressure because Glenn has told me, I must just take the race and let it come to me. Don't do anything crazy, and if I've got that attitude, I'm sure I should be okay. Sure, I'm going to be pushing. I need to use the dust to my advantage, and if we can pull a bit of a gap, sure. But if Hannes gets all over me, I don't have the experience that he has got. I'll let him go and maybe let him run off the road and then take something. And if Neil comes, we'll play it by ear. Obviously, we don't want the Ford to win.
Well, I'm used to starting in front, but my brother behind me is going to be a bit of a problem, because I think we all know he's a bit of a wild man, and he's coming at speed. I've just got to be a little bit more careful of how I drive this morning, keep it on the track. It's going to be slippery out there, so I'm not going to be too worried about him. We've got a minute gap. Hopefully we can just stick with the Ford and the two Nissans.
My brother today is going to die. I'm coming for him full speed ahead, and got a few small problems. The tank's got 220 litres in because they don't have a petrol gauge. But as soon as the petrol leans down a bit, we're going to be flying nicely to come and get you, Gary.
Ons het gister 'n goeie loopie gehad tot so halfpad in die prologue. Dink het ons oorverhitting probleme gehad, maar ons het dit uitgesorteer gisterand. So ons hoop om vandag 'n goeie loopie te hê. Ons het laas jaar baie lekker gery hier. Ons grootste dreigemente gaan maar van Chris Visser en Barend Tyres. Hulle sien hulle is 'n paar sekondes agter ons. So ons moet maar net probeer bly voor hulle bly en laat ons kan kyk of ons kan klaarmaak. Die Sugarbelt is bekend dat hy altyd rof is. Ek dink dit is maar as ek en Jaap gisterand oor gepraat het, is om maar ons pas so te ry dat ons kan klaarmaak. Jy weet, ek meen, as jy klaar gemaak het, dis punte op die bord, veral in die begin van die seisoen, en dis wat hy nou nodig het.
We're delighted with the old driver, but see, the old driver lost some weight, so we're getting the quick look. Okay, yeah, we're happy. It was nice to drive a car we had a lot of faith in, and I suppose especially nice to beat my old rival Nardis, Alberts, but I think it's about 8 seconds difference, so today could be a good scratch. Looking forward to it.
3, 2, 1.
Alfie Cox had the bit between his teeth, and it will be up to teammate Grobler to pile on the pressure and also keep Woolwich and the Ford at bay. On board with Grobler and enjoy the ride. Ford Racing's Woolridge and Scholthammer broke the Nissan stranglehold on last year's Carnival City 400 and were keen to continue where they left off. Berthold and Rousseau not only wanted to win the special vehicle category overall, they wanted to beat the trucks and be the first crew across the line after 420 kilometers of tough racing. Bevan and Nick Similalela had similar plans. Cox and Pitchford had an advantage on the dust-free route though, which would later give them the edge over their rivals. Grobler and Jordan used the dust-free conditions to take back 2 seconds from the leaders. and Pitchford controlled the race from the front and had claimed back 4 seconds from the proudly South African Nissan teammates Krobler and Jordan, who had in turn opened up a slight gap on Woolridge and Scholthammer in the Team Ford Racing Ranger. Special vehicle leaders Berthold and Rousseau were within spitting distance of the Ford Ranger, while Krobler and Jordan lost more time to Cox and allowed Woolridge to gain some ground while they overshot. Bevan Berthold and Nick Samalalela were on a charge in the iTech Bat and were closing the gap on Brother Gary, while the Team Ford Racing pair of Schroeder and Harris comfortably led in Class D. John Weir Smith and Jeff Minnett had gained 2 places in the Kopanong Hotel Super Team Jimco. Class B leaders Evan Hutchinson and Trevor Ormerod were under pressure from the local crew Will Battersill and Reg Sutton and couldn't afford to let up their pace for 1 second. Castrol Toyota pair Mark Cronier and Chris Birkin were 10th overall, 5th in the production vehicle category and 2nd in Class D after an hour of racing, and they managed to slip past Battersill and Sutton at this Marshall point. Coming round the corner only to find Bevan Berthold had rolled his iTech Bat. Fortunately, the crew were okay, and they were able to continue after Cliff and Louis Weichelt pulled the vehicle back onto its wheels. Just over an hour into the race now, and Cox and Pitchford were still in command. Krobler and Jordan now with 1 minute 24 seconds behind the leaders and only 24 seconds ahead of Woolridge and Scholthammer. Team Ford Racing crew played the waiting game and were quite content to sit in 3rd place. Berthold and Rousseau, the special vehicle leaders, had so far not put a wheel wrong in the advanced soft bat, and Brother Bevan out of contention. It was up to John Weir Smith and Jeff Minnett, who were 6 minutes behind, to start piling on the pressure. A surprise package in the Nissan Sugarbelt 400 was Class B leaders Evan Hutchinson and Trevor Ormerod in the Motorite Bat, who had moved up to 3rd overall in the special vehicle category. Manfred Schroeder and Alec Harris had a clean run and had a firm grip on Class D lead, while arch rivals Mark Cronier and Chris Birkin in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i pulled out all the stops to try and catch and pass the Team Ford Racing Ranger. Local driver Carl van der Merwe was 2nd in Class B and used his knowledge of the local conditions to good effect, while the consistent Clint Gibson and co-driver Marcel Trethuri in the Gibson plant hire bat had moved from 10th to 4th in the special vehicle category. Reigning Class E champions Hugo and father Jaap de Bruin led Class E from the start in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i, as was the case with the Class S leaders Richard Schilling and Chris Davies in the Nissan V6 powered Plasto Tech Aceco. Terence Marsh and Michael Whitehouse were getting used to the brand new Nashua Mobile Bat Spec 1 and were quite happy with running in 4th place in Class A. Class S contenders Nardis Alberts and Colin Hunter were on a mission to pass their rivals Schilling and Davies, but their race would soon come to an end when the power steering on the Rapsa Raceco failed. John Moore and Graham McLaughlin were well placed in the Connex Internet Chenoweth, and of course that is going to be replaced really soon with a brand new Chenoweth. Good Samaritans' father and son Cliff and Louis Weichelt started 9th in the Bosel N1 4x4 Toyota and had gained 3 places despite losing time when they stopped to help Bevan Berthold. Chris Visser and Jaapie Badenhorst were 2nd in Class E in the Tyco Trucks Toyota Hilux 2.7i. Battershill and Sutton had moved up to 3rd in Class B, but were a long way behind the leaders Hutchinson and Ormerod. Local crew Lamb and Hughes were having a great run until they drowned their electrics in the Gusher Special. Zane Pierce and new co-driver Peter Chadwick, a veteran rally navigator, had a trouble-free run in the Castrol Toyota Hilux and were 3rd in Class E. 2004 Milestone Award winners for completing every race, Henry Zermatten and Bodo Schwegler, were 4th in Class D in the trusty Mastercraft Ryobi PlayStation 2 Pajero. Bevan Berthold and Nick Similalela lost 22 minutes when they rolled and were determined to make up as much ground as possible.